why did HMRC wait so long to identify these schemes? Because I think we're talking 7 or 8 years now. And
Mm,
would HMRC have caught up with these schemes eventually, even if you hadn't investigated them?
I'm certain they would have caught up with them eventually. We know quite a few people who've told HMRC about the schemes. We know that there were people within HMRC who were aware of the schemes. Why they weren't acting, I'm not sure. I think there is a general point to be made about HMRC not being as effective as it used to be in terms of having feet on the ground and seeing what's going on. I don't think that's the explanation here because I think HMRC had had enough time and these people were very visible. There are some tax avoidance promoters where they have nothing on the web and you could only see what's going on by speaking to them, speaking to someone who they've sold the product to. But Less Tax for Landlord and Property 118 were everywhere. They had a massive web presence explaining exactly what they did. They weren't really hiding it. They were at landlord conferences and exhibitions. They were speaking about it. It was all there. And I was getting lots of messages from lawyers, accountants saying, what's going on here? Doesn't this default the mortgage? And it took me a while to get round to it, to look at it. Um, but as soon as I did, it was really clear that something very strange was happening. A lot of landlords are confused and don't understand why everything is being so slow. And the answer is it's actually being incredibly fast by the standards of normal tax disputes. So when I was in practice, I had disputes where it had been 10 years since the first HMRC letter and weren't even near a tribunal yet. Probably 118 think they'll get to a tribunal by the end of the year. Bloody hell, that's lightning fast. So yeah, tax disputes are slow. And that's a big problem if you are in one of these structures, because it means that you're going on for a long time with an unknown liability hovering over you. And unfortunately, there is no answer to that. What makes it worse is that if you're a promoter, you have every incentive to keep the ball rolling rather than reach a sort of quick, swift agreement with HMRC. The best way, likely, for landlords to reach a good settlement with HMRC will be to essentially say that they were misled, they were fooled by these promoters. They're doing something they didn't understand. The nature of it was misrepresented to them. Possibly the whole thing isn't effective. Even if it's effective, there certainly shouldn't be penalties because they were misled. The advisors are certainly not going to run arguments that say they misled people and didn't know what they were doing. They're going to keep the ball rolling because it delays the day of reckoning, because they can continue to extract fees as they do it, and because, they probably think something may turn up. Who knows? Your chance of litigation are never zero. I mean, if you have the greatest of all cases and you go to a barrister and say, so what are my chances? You'll be very disappointed because they will say, depending on the barrister, 70% or 80%. There is always an element of uncertainty. So with the worst tax avoidance case in the world, even though I can point to pretty much every single tax avoidance case having gone in HMRC's favour over the last 20, 25 years, an optimistic advisor can think, well, who knows? I'll just keep this going for a bit. The interests of the clients, on the other hand, is completely different. They will want to settle it as soon as possible. What would have been the consequence of that if I'd done nothing? And the answer is not that it would have ended happily ever after. The answer is that HMRC would have caught up with it. Landlords would have had years and years of back tax to pay, plus interest, plus penalties. My involvement likely meant that HMRC stopped these schemes earlier. That is a good result for landlords. Not a bad result. It may not feel like that to some of them in the immediate, but it's nevertheless the truth. It's a good result.